This is the shelter I stayed at last night. Heading out. Trail very damaged due to water. Everything's closed. Park's closed. Heading out of the shelter. I go to Bear Mountain next, and Bear Mountain Bridge, which is 11.7 and 14.4 miles away. Problem is, this park, Harriman State Park, is closed, and Bear Mountain Park is closed due to flooding. And Bear Mountain is supposed to be impassable, the trail. So we don't really know what we're doing right now. We're just heading out and heading down the trail, and we'll see what happens. But everything is closed right now. We're in an empty park because of all the flooding that I was in 2 days ago. And everything is still supposed to be flooded. So heading up some rocks, and we'll just play it by ear. We may have to turn around and go back. Nobody knows what to do. There has been no information posted on where to go, detours, or anything, just that everything's flooded and you can't get there. And there's no shuttles that can make it into the park to pick us up either. See, trail's still flooded in places. I walked through a bunch of water yesterday. My socks and shoes are still sopping wet. They dried out a little bit during the day yesterday in the sun. But then to get to the shelter last night, I had to walk through pretty deep water. I mean, not like dangerously deep, but over my knees deep, or right around my knees deep. This is the trail. It's kind of odd right here on these boulders. So you just see lines painted on the boulders every once in a while. The shelter was up on a boulder. No privy. Water was way down. The trail down to the shelter had been washed out, so it was more like a creek running down. I guess water tanks. I guess something wanted in that fence and made it in that fence. Is that a big ol' hole? Wow. So all roads are closed in the park, and I still feel like I should look both ways before I cross the road. Well, as quiet as it is today and nice as it is today, nobody's in the park other than through hikers. We kind of have a private tour. And maybe we'll see more animals or bears or stuff like that because of being so quiet and not the tourists. These are usually pretty full of tourists and hikers and stuff. So we're definitely getting a different experience. And you can tell the trails are pretty well worn. through here, so you can tell that in places that there are a lot of people, especially near the roads and parking areas, that there are a lot of people up here that come in here and enjoy it. Still running into places like this on the trail where the trail is kind of a little river, but it's so far, knocking on wood, is not as bad as yesterday. Yesterday, you know, we were walking on waterfalls a lot. I don't know how many of them I videoed, but even just like last night in the dark, getting to the shelter, the trail going down to the shelter was a running creek almost, and it was very washed out, very difficult in the dark with a headlamp. I wasn't even sure I was on the trail. There's not much of a trail in the daylight either. This morning, hiking back out, it was hard to hike out. Let's see, once you get up a little bit, it's not too bad. It's just bad in places and muddy. But most of the rocks are dry now, except for where there's water, you're running down on them. So that's also nice. This is the trail, a little bit overgrown right here with beautiful flowers. So parts of the trail are still a waterfall. This is what I'm going up right now. It goes down quite a ways. Helicopters are flying over, so maybe they'll check in the damage and they'll let us know something. Several of them, or maybe one, is just kept flying over, doing circles. Or they could be news helicopters, you know, recording the flooding for the news. Hopefully we'll get some information soon. So that bridge is supposed to be over here on those rocks. It got washed downstream and made it across, but I did fall off the other end where it's all twisted. That it was very, very slippery. So I fell, hit my elbow again, the same elbow I hit before. And I ended up taking off my shoes and walking across in my socks because it wasn't so slippery in the socks, but the shoes are just ridiculously slippery on surfaces like that. But anyway, I made it across. The bridge is still stable. This road's washed out. I was getting ready to cross it and I noticed it. You can see all along here. And down in the middle, it almost looks like it's starting to cave in or something. It looks lower on that side where the water ran under the road. You can see it over here too. And all the rocks where the water ran across. Crazy. Where the water just lifted the blacktop. Tore out there. It was a bad storm. That's the trail. The waterfall is the trail. Beautiful in here. There's the shelter over there. You can just see it through the trees. Barely. I'm gonna go there, have some food, I think, and just rest a little bit and tape up my feet. They're wet in the shoes for 2 days, and it just is really hard on them, so I need to tape them up, keep them from blistering and getting bad. I have some hot spots already. This is what the shelter looks like. This is the William Brien Shelter. You can see they've got a couple of bunks on either side. There's floor space in the middle for people to lay on. This was an old fireplace, but it's been filled in. And there's no, you're not allowed to have fires in here anymore. It's kind of a cool old shelter. And I'll show you this. We do a lot of rock climbing in New York, and this big old pile of rocks is the next rock climb that I have to do. I don't know if there's a point to it or not, but I'm attempting to dry out my socks and shoes in the sun while I'm eating lunch at the shelter. Attempting. Now they may be wet again as soon as I get back on the trail, but I'm trying. Well, you can kind of see the flooding there. That lake is just way over full, and the river going into the lake is full. This is Black Mountain I'm up on top of. I think our next mountain we climb is Bear Mountain, if we can climb it. That's the one that's supposed to be impassable. We'll see. We aren't quite to the top. Look at this. These butterflies, they're everywhere. Oh, that tickles. Jeez, that tickles. Stop that. Ah, it's back on my leg again. Oh my goodness, that tickles. Anyway, this is what we're supposed to climb right now. This is up at the top of Black Mountain, just above that viewpoint. Oh, gotta stop and eat some blueberries. Look at all of them. And over here too. Oh, they're good too. I think that's the Hudson right there. We're heading that way. We're gonna cross it. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. I don't know if you can see it, but there's the skyline of New York over there. It's in the white part. Barely see it in the haze. Right above the mountains in the center. I just came through this little swampy area, and I am at 1,400 miles. So right in here, there probably was a 1,400 mile sign, but all the water's washed all the rocks away, so we don't have a 1,400 mile sign anymore to celebrate with. But 1,400 miles I've done. Well, here's the 1,400. It's a little past the 1,400 mark, but we're still within that mile, so it's good. 1,400 miles. Isn't it awesome? Countdown now. It's just not that many miles left to do. It's very exciting. Taking a detour. This isn't because of the flooding or anything. This is a established detour to cross the highway, the interstate, on an overpass, I guess. And it's been here for, I guess, 2 years now. And it is the official AT with the white blaze. The old AT is not the official way anymore. But you can see the white blaze up on the tree. Right now they're still calling this a temporary detour, so maybe they're working on having an overpass built or something. But it was just too dangerous. People had gotten killed trying to cross that road. It just wasn't safe. So this is much longer, but it is the official route, so we're going to take it. So far I haven't found any impassable places yet, but I haven't gotten to Bear Mountain where the impassable areas are supposed to be. I've seen a lot of evidence of flooding, but it's receded a good bit, so maybe we'll be in luck and Bear Mountain will be okay and passable now. But you can see, like right here for instance, there's flooding, but it's not terrible. It's nothing you can't walk through. It's nothing you're gonna drown in. This is so pretty, all these ferns. It's just gorgeous. I'm sure they appreciated all the water and all the rain we've had here. So here's the highway, I guess, or the road that's closed, West 6, but it's closed, so I could have easily walked across it and not had to do this detour. I guess it flooded also. It would be nice if they let us know. Completely closed. And yeah, they're working on it down there. Yeah, it looks like it flooded down there. So So I just walked way out of my way for nothing. Had it at least they said a 1.25 miles, but that's not right. It was a lot farther than that, I would think. Boy, this trail's really been damaged by the water. It is tore up. A lot of the trails have been like this. Another rock mountain, even on the blue blaze, they don't cut us any slack. It's still hard. Better get to climbing. So yeah, does this look like hiking to you? I have to climb this cliff. How am I supposed to do that? I'll figure it out. Oh, I made it. It wasn't as hard as it looked, actually. There were a bunch of handholds, and my feet were gripping good because it wasn't wet, so it wasn't as hard as it looked. So it was still a little scary. I still have this to go over here and on up that cliff there. I made it. Hard and scary. Here's the view from the top. That's the cliff I just climbed up. See the white spots, and then that other one down there. But yeah, here's the view. Very nice. Another cliff to climb. Oh my goodness. This is still the Blue Blaze off the AT. That's extra miles that they wanted us to do to go around the dangerous part of walking across a 4-lane road. I think I'd take my chances with the 4-lane road over all this. I could fall off a cliff. Which one's more dangerous? That is the Hudson River. We're going to cross that. Not today. I'm not making good enough time today. The climbs have been too hard. And that's Bear Mountain. That is closed right now. I'm going to see if we can go up it. I don't think we can, but that will probably be tomorrow. Also, I'm going to get over to the base of it tonight. That beautiful view we just saw is part of the regular AT. It's not the Blue Blaze part of the reroute over the highway. So we're just back on the regular AT now. All the other part was regular AT too. That's considered AT. Where the AT did go across is not considered AT anymore. So I guess you're kind of cheating if you do that, I guess now. They really want you to go on this part. And it's challenging. It's longer. And I don't know about the other one, but man, there's a lot of climbs on this one. Down off the mountain now. Getting ready to look for a tent site, because I am not going to make it. Already past the shelter. I'm not going to make it to any other shelter. They don't have very many around here, these parts. Pretty far apart. Well, I found a nice little spot just in time. Sun is going down. You can kind of see sunset through the trees over there.